आज लेट करके मीटिंग स्टार्ट हो रहा है क्या?
Research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. This profound thought reminds us that research is not merely about discovering new information, it is about looking at existing knowledge with curiosity, critical thinking, and a fresh perspective. It is this spirit of inquiry and innovation that drives academic excellence and meaningful contributions to society. A very good morning to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome our respected principal, ma'am, Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, our distinguished resource person, Dr. Askia Khan, esteemed faculty members, and all the participants to today's faculty development program on the theme Research Methodology and Academic Publishing. May this program inspire meaningful learning, scholarly inquiry, and excellence in research. To formally commence today's program, it is my honor to invite Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, Principal, Army Institute of Education, to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished resource person and participants. Ma'am?
Thank you, Saloni ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good morning to everyone, one and all present here. Respected Dr. Askia Khan ma'am, distinguished participants, esteemed faculty members, and dear colleagues. A very good morning to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 5th day of the Faculty Development Program on Research Methodology and Academic Writing, organized by Army Institute of Education in association with CTPD India. Today, we are deeply honored to have Dr. Askia Khan with us as the resource person for the today's session. Ma'am, your expertise in research and especially in promoting research practices are truly inspiring. I have seen you working in research and I have seen your passion in research, and I truly appreciate that, Askia ma'am. We sincerely thank you for graciously accepting our invitation and sharing your valuable insights with us. The theme for today's session is research ethics, academic integrity, and plagiarism. It lies at the heart of quality research. While research aims to generate new knowledge, it must always be guided by honesty, transparency, and accountability, and also respect for intellectual contributions. Upholding ethical standards is not only a procedural requirement, it is the foundation of credible and trustworthy scholarship. As researchers and teachers, we have a collective responsibility to foster a culture of integrity, originality, and ethical conduct. Understanding the principles of research ethics, recognizing different forms of plagiarism, and adopting responsible academic writing practices are essential for maintaining the high standards of scholarship. I am confident that today's session will provide us with practical insights into ethical decision-making in research, the responsible use of scholarly literature, and effective strategies to prevent plagiarism. The knowledge gained today will not only strengthen our own research practices, but also enable us to mentor future researchers with integrity and confidence. I encourage all participants to actively engage with our esteemed resource person, ask questions, and I always say, make the most of this valuable learning opportunity. Once again, on behalf of the Army Institute of Education and CTPD India, I extend a heartfelt welcome to Dr. Askia Khan and to all our participants. I wish everyone an enriching and thought-provoking session. Thank you. Now, with great pleasure, I invite Askia ma'am to deliver today's session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is now my privilege to introduce our distinguished resource person, Dr. Askia Khan. Ma'am is presently serving as the principal of Ram Kumar's Public School, Iglas, and has previously served as an assistant professor at the Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida. She holds a PhD in education from Aligarh Muslim University and has qualified UGC NET with JRF in education. A dedicated academician and researcher, she has actively contributed to the field through presentations at national and international conferences and publication in reputed academic journals. Her vast experience in teaching, research, and academic publishing make her an ideal expert to guide us through today's session. As a token of our sincere appreciation for graciously accepting our invitation and sharing your expertise with us, we would like to present a virtual memento to our esteemed resource person, to Dr. Askia Khan. Ma'am, kindly accept this small token of gratitude and appreciation from Army Institute of Education. We are truly honored to have you with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to now invite Dr. Askia Khan to deliver today's technical session on research ethics, academic integrity, and plagiarism. Ma'am, the session is yours.
Good morning,
Askia
all of
ma'am,
you.
you may start. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, all of you. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm really feeling very blessed to be a part of AI here. And I'm very thankful to Army College and Principal Dr. Abhilasha Gautam ma'am for inviting me as a resource person for this 7-day student and faculty development program on research methodology and academic publishing. So I'm feeling very blessed and thankful to reconnect with AI again after such a long time. And it's really an honor for me to be a part of this workshop. So here today presentation, my topic will be research ethics, academic integrity, and plagiarism. And I'm sharing my slides over here. Yes, ma'am, my slides are visible to you.
Yes, ma'am, your slides are visible.
Okay, ma'am. So for today's session on research ethics, academic integrity, and plagiarism, first of all, I will start with the main agenda points which we will discuss here in this session. So in this session, we will discuss about the research ethics, academic integrity, and why the research ethics and academic integrity matters a lot in our personal as well as professional life. Here we will also discuss about the core principles that guide ethical research, including respect, beneficence, and justice, and the implication of ethics in research, how the ethical values impact the research. We will also recognize the different forms of plagiarism and research misconduct, from direct copying to self-plagiarism. We will also apply correct citation and paraphrasing practices to avoid unintentional plagiarism in our own work. Then at the end, students will be able to respond appropriately and know where to go when an integrity concern arises. So here in this session, the main agenda points will be the discussion of foundation of research ethics, academic integrity, understanding plagiarism, prevention, citation and tools, and different discussion on these topics. So first of all, I will like to discuss about the ethics. What is the implication of ethics in research? So basically, whenever we are conducting research, it deals with data. It deals with data, and the data is related to the personal as well as the private information of the person. So here lies the responsibility on a research to maintain the ethical values before conducting the research. So here the first priority is building trust in research. So whenever you are conducting research, you have to gain the trust of the participants also, that their information is safe and secure. You have to protect participants, because if the researcher will not ensure that the research is for some meaningful purpose and the privacy of the participants will be kept confidential, the participants will not participate wholeheartedly. So for honest research, the real participation of all the participants are very important. Researchers should also ensure credibility, the right credit to a right person. So here in the research, credibility matters a lot. Like if we have taken any idea, then we have to give the credit to that particular person regarding the idea. We cannot steal the thought of other person and mention as our own. So here also the ethical concerns arise a lot. Then improves research quality, because if we talk about research, it's going on, a lot research is going on, but if we talk about real quality of research, then very less percentage of real research is available, because here the concerns regarding the authenticity arises. So it's very important for real and authentic research that proper credibility is there, ethical values are followed, then only we can come to a right conclusion in research. So good research is impossible without good ethics. Our value, our ethical system is very important for conducting a good research. Now, the next question arises, what is research ethics? So ethical values are very important in our normal life also. Because if we are like dealing with kids also, then ethics matter, value system matter. It starts from the initial. So now if we are coming in a research field, then also the research ethics matter. Ki whatever we are doing, it should be with full heart and honesty and a value system. So a system of moral principles that govern how research is planned, conducted, reported, and reviewed, covering the treatment of participants, the handling of data, and the honest representation of results. So here, the honesty matters a lot. Like whatever we are presenting, because research is a long process. Whenever we are doing research, then we are in depth analyzing the situations. And the hand-on responsibility lies on the research to verify all the facts and to come to the conclusions. So here, research ethics matter a lot, like our morality, our principles, because if we are stealing someone's work and pretending as our own, then the whole research will go in different direction. Or if we hide some facts or pretending something else, then also whatever we are working upon for a long time, it's just useless if we are not following the right protocols. So it it matters a lot. protect the safety, dignity, and rights of research participants. So it's very important because whenever we are conducting any research, if it's data based, then we need the personal details of the participants, like their email ID, their name, their personal information. So here the responsibility of a researcher lies, like how safely you are managing that data, because the participant is providing his personal information. So you have to protect the safety, dignity, and rights of research participants. Ensure results are trustworthy and can be built upon by others. So the results also should be trustworthy, because if we are involving the participants, first of all, we have to ensure that the participants are sharing their real feelings. If they are feeling like participants, if they have the feeling that their identity will be revealed, and if some personal questions are asked to them, then it may happen that they will not disclose their personal feelings. They may give you others' opinion, like what others may feel. So, in order to maintain the trustworthy and honest results, so first of all, we should gain the confidence of the participants that we will protect their privacy. Then only we can feel like they will give their honest results to us. Third is safeguard public trust and continued support for science. So here, whatever research is done, it is for the good of the people, like it is for the people, like whatever researches we are doing in the social science, it is for our welfare. So because we want to know something, we want to research the things, so here we want to safeguard the things. So first of all, if any research is conducted, because it is for the welfare of the people, but certain things should be kept in mind, like the safety, dignity, right of research participants, honesty, maintaining the right details, then only we can come to a right conclusion. Fourth is protect your own credibility, career, and institution. So whenever you are participating, then in the research, then you have to give the proper credit to the particular person. If you are taking definition of some researcher, then you have to cite the source. You have to give proper credit to that particular person from whose you have taken the information. Because if at any point of time it is found that you have used some unfair means and you have not given the credibility, then it can even impact your career and it can even defame your institution, like you are publishing the wrong researches. So here it matters a lot, like it's name defaming also. If you are using your institution name and you are using some other's data and pretending as yours institution or your own data, that can hamper your image also. So here I want to discuss about the brief history of this research ethics. So modern research ethics grew directly out of documented historical failures to protect participants. So it started like in the before 20th century, like before 1947, there were certain cases in which the researches were done in medical fields, but it was not following the ethical concerns. So in 1947, numbering code, here the first international code requiring voluntary informed consent in research. At this time, in 1947, it was decided that the voluntary consent of the participants and the information, prior information regarding the research process should be delivered to the participants before engaging them in the research process. Then in 1964, Declaration of Helsinki. Here, World Medical Association Principles for Medical Research Ethics decided that if the child is involved, suppose a child is involved in a research, then proper explanation to that particular child should also be given. If the parents of that particular child, they should also give the consent. So everybody consent is very important, and both pros and cons of the particular research should be explained to the participants. Then the Bellman report, US report establishing respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. Here also it means the person should know about the consequences of the research, how his data will be saved, and what will be the impact of this research on that particular person. Now there are various ethics review boards, there are various committees. Now they have their standards and there are certain protocols of ethical values which the researcher has to maintain before conducting the research. Now the core ethical principles. The Belmont reports three principles remains the backbone of ethical research today. First is respect for person. Here, treat individual as autonomous agents, obtain informed consent, provide extra protection for vulnerable groups. So whenever you are conducting any research, then we have to respect that person who is participating in our research. First of all, anonymity. Like you have to hide the name of that particular person who is sharing his personal information with you. And you have to inform that particular person prior conducting the research that what in what way you will be conducting the research, how your data will be utilized, and what will be the impact of that research on that particular person. You also have to provide extra protection for vulnerable groups. Vulnerable groups can be anyone, like a small child, sick person, or mentally disabled person, any person who is like from the weaker section. So it should not happen like you are working on some weaker section or disadvantaged section, and that research impact his reputation or in some way impact him. So you have to provide extra protection for that vulnerable groups if you are including that group in your research. Next is beneficence. Maximize possible benefits and minimize possible harms to participants and society. This research is done for the welfare of the society. So the researcher should ensure that research is only for the welfare of the society. So if it is causing harm to the individual, then that part should be reduced. And it should only for the benefit of the people, and it should minimally harm the people or the participants. Justice. Distribute the benefits and burdens of research fairly across groups and individuals. So here you have to, like, it's not like if you are conducting some experimental research on a control group and a experimental group and you are just giving the benefits to one group. No, you have to see what will be the benefits and how that research will flow. You have to maintain the balance while conducting the research. Now, here I want to discuss about the key principles of research ethics. So first is respect for person. As I have already discussed, we have to treat participants with dignity and respect. We should obtain informed consent before participation. And we should also respect the right to withdraw from the study. Sometimes it happens that we are conducting an experimental research and it is for the long duration. Now we want our participant to participate for long. But sometimes what happens is during the experiment, something happens to that particular participants, like some injury happens or some mishappening happens to that particular person at home. So that person has the right to withdraw from the study at any time. You cannot force a participant to continue a study for your benefit if that person is suffering anything personal. So here that person has a right to withdraw from the study at any time. The next is beneficence. Maximize potential benefits of research. So here the benefits of research should be maximum. Like if we are conducting research, then we should first calculate that if, because human research are very difficult. So it should be like if you are conducting any research, then how much benefit it will be for the people and how much harm it may cause. So minimum harm or discomfort to the participants and maximum potential benefits of research should be for the participants. So this should be the calculation which researchers should make prior hand before conducting the research. Non-maleficence. Avoid causing physical, psychological, social, or economic harm. Because sometimes if we are studying any kind of research, like if we are studying about the impact of road accidents on the families of the person who have undergone road accidents. So if we are going to talk to the family members, that it may happen that they feel like a psychological trauma, they may like rethink about the situations. So we should like think before what we are studying and how much impact it will be create on our participants. Sometimes we have to also conduct research on certain behaviors of the students, and we have to observe certain behavior of the students. We have to like receive the data from the parents. So here also we should ensure that how much harm we are causing them in terms of psychological trauma, social trauma, or economic harm, especially if we are dealing with special kids, if we are researching them. Then we should also ensure that if we are asking certain questions to the parents, how comfortable they are, how much like their privacy will be maintained, how their data will be confidential, because these things can impact their social reputation, their psychological well-being, their physical well-being. So we should ensure that these things should not traumatize the parents, the participants, and we should calculate like how much benefit our research will provide and how much little harm we can give to the participants. The next is justice and fairness. So we have to select participants fairly. We should also ensure that the risk and benefits of research are distributed equitably. Like if we are conducting any research, then there should not be any favoritism. We should select the participants fairly. Like they should be like random sampling technique we can use, or some other technique we can use, but there should be fair selection. Like it should not like you are selecting the participants on the features or for what you are studying the research. So it will hamper the results of the research in the end if you are not fairly selecting your participants. Suppose if you are undergoing research on certain feature and certain habits, and you know that particular participant has that habit, but if you are like choosing by on the basis of partiality, then in the end your result will hamper. So your fair participation will should be ensured in the beginning. Ensure that the risk and benefits of research are distributed equitably. So here the benefits and risks should be equitable. Like you should calculate how much benefit our research will provide to the participants and how much the risk factor is to our participants. First is informed consent. Consent is to take the permission, and informed consent here means if you are conducting the research, then prior you should take the permission from the participants. So participants should understand the purpose of the research, for what purpose you are conducting the research, what participation involves, how the participants will be used up in that research. Like sometimes what happens that you have taken the consent of the participants and they have given you the consent, but they do not know actually what they have to do in the research, and in the end they do not want to participate in the research. So the whole process of research, like what activities will be included, what kind of data will be included, so it should be cleared before starting the research process. Participants should know what they have to do in that process, and potential risk and benefits should also be explained priorly. Like sometimes what happened ki in medical research, like some types of researches are on vaccination. So here also it concerns like what can be the potential risk and what can be the benefits if you are conducting a research on human beings, how their information will be used, and this should also be informed priorly, that how the information will be used by the researcher, for what purpose they are contributing their data, for what purpose this research will be used, and they also have the right to refuse or withdraw. So at any time they can refuse or withdraw from the research if they are uncomfortable, if some mishappening at their home, if something happens. So it is their right, it is not a bond that they will continue the process. They can refuse anytime, they can withdraw anytime. Next is privacy and confidentiality. So it's very important, because if the person is not secure and safe, if the person is not feeling like, so that person will not share his data. So privacy is very important, confidentiality is very important. So protected participants' personal information. As a researcher, one should never share the names of the students, their personal details, the parents' name. It should be kept anonymous. It should not be disclosed. Do not disclose identifiable information without appropriate permission. Only if permission is given, then only you can share the information. Otherwise, you cannot disclose identifiable information without permission. Assign participants identification numbers. We can also identify some numbers, codes to the participants, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or something A, B, C, D. In that way, you can give the codes to the participants instead of using their names or their personal informations. Then we can also store their files securely, like password protection or encryptions, like so that it's only accessible to the researcher. Nobody else can open those files, because sometimes what happens is we are maintaining the privacy, but confidentiality is not maintained. Files are accessed by somebody else and they came to know about the personal detail of that particular person. So it's very important that files are also stored securely. We also restrict access to authorized researchers only. So here access should be only through that particular researcher who is conducting that research. It should not be freely accessible to everyone. Report findings in aggregate form. it should be like findings should be disclosed in the aggregate forms, like cumulative forms, then destroy data according to institutional policies when appropriate. And when the research is fully conducted and you have undergone the conclusion, then that data should be deleted or should be like destroyed, so that in the future nobody can use the data. And that should be according to the institutional policies. Like sometimes when we apply for any job vacancies in many universities and many organizations, what happens ki we have to share our CV, and our CV has all the details like our mobile number, our Gmail ID, our father's name, our qualification, our address. So it's a very like personal information, and we are sharing it on every platform. Like for job platforms we are sharing, and wherever we are applying we are sharing. So these are the personal things which we are sharing on the public platform. So here we should ensure that what are the institutional policies for maintaining our privacy and confidentiality. So in many universities it is mentioned that after 3 months your data will be automatically deleted. This means that they have the provision of destroying the data so that that particular information cannot be misused. So it's very important like how you are managing that data. So it's very important that we should also ensure before sharing our personal details that at least that site should be authentic wherever we are sharing our personal details, because later on sometimes it can be misused also. Next is honesty and integrity. So here, report findings truthfully. So here it depends on the researcher how honestly he is sharing his result. Because whenever you are working in the research, you have to analyze the data, then we comes up with the research findings. So it also depends, like if sometimes what happens ki research findings are not according to the hope of the researcher, and sometimes what happens ki researcher manipulates the findings. So it should not happen. Whatever facts are there, they should be like published that way only. So there should be honesty and trustworthiness should be maintained in that case. Never fabricate or falsify data. Whatever data is there, it should be accurately measured. Fabrication should not be there, like manipulation or changing the data, increasing the data or decreasing the data, because whenever we are doing all these things, then it changes the final result and the findings. So the whole process of research is failure now because we have changed the data. So it should not happen. Acknowledge limitations and conflict of interest. So here we should also acknowledge the limitations of our study and what are the conflicts of interest. So limitations should always be mentioned here, because in every research there are certain types of limitations, and it can be related to your area limitations, it can be related to gender, it can be related to your particular place. What were your limitations? Because whenever we are generalizing our data, so it depends on the limitations. What were our limitations? Now, the common ethical issues in research. So there are certain issues which happens in research. First is conducting research without informed consent. So this is a major ethical issue. If we are conducting research and we are not telling the participants that for what purpose we are taking their personal information. So this is the foremost step. First, we should ensure that we are taking the informed consent of the participants. Deception without adequate justification. Like we are changing the data, or data is dropped there from the pool, and we are not providing proper justification that why this data is changed. So it should not happen. Breach of confidentiality, like I told you that the data should be kept confidential, it should be kept private. But sometimes what happens ki they ensure that they will keep their data private, but sometimes what happens, it is not kept private. And what happens sometimes ki we got a call from so many like persons for salespersons and so many things, and we really had a feeling that we never shared information on these platforms, and why we are getting daily calls. This happens from the breach of the confidentiality. Actually, those persons who are calling us for sale, for real estate, sometimes from banks, we have not directly contacted those persons. But what happened? The breach of confidentiality. Here we have shared our data somewhere else, and those persons came to know our details, and now they reach us for their benefits. This happens for admissions also. Like suppose we have applied in one institute or somewhere we have applied, then we get the data and we get called from so many other places. So this is the breach of confidentiality, because we have not shared them data directly, but somewhere they have stolen our data, and now they are calling us for their personal benefits. Exploitation of vulnerable participants. Sometimes what happens ki vulnerable participants are very soft targets, like old people, sick people, disabled persons, young children. So here there are chances that their exploitation may happen because they cannot protect themselves. So this should not happen. Like priorly we should take the permission of their parents or the guardians, so that we this should not happen, like because children, they cannot take their own decision. And if they are the participants, then it may happen ki we have explained something else to them in the experiment, and now the researcher is doing something else. So there are chances of their exploitation. Maybe they, that research technique is not in the welfare of the child. So this should not happen. Everything should be cleared before starting the research process. Fabrication or falsification of data. Fabrication or falsification of data should not happen. The data should be kept maintained original. Like we should not, sometimes what happened, the researcher for their own interest, like they got only 120 questionnaires and they want to show their research 300. So what they do, they duplicate the data. So this should not happen. Or changing the value of the data. Like if they are getting certain score, they are changing the values of the data to get the particular type of result, particular type of the readings, particular types of graphs. So this come under fabrication or falsification of data. This should not happen. Data should be kept original, and whatever we are getting, that only will be our findings. Then only that research will be original. Then we have plagiarism. This is very common nowadays because we have so many AI tools, we have chat GPT, we have so many platforms. Now everything is freely available. So here are the chances of plagiarism. And it can be from the books, it can be from the textbooks, it can be from the website, anywhere. We have so many information now. So it's very important to check the plagiarism status. There are various tools available, various softwares available where we can check the plagiarism. So it's very important. Like we should not copy others' work and pretend to be our own. Then we have manipulation or selective reporting of results. Sometimes what happens ki we get the result and we find out that there are certain outliers in the result, and those outliers are changing our final values. So what we do, we just exclude those outliers from the research. So that will totally hamper our result. That will totally hamper our findings. So it should not happen. If we are manipulating the findings, if we are changing the data, we are excluding the outliers, then what will happen? Our result will change. Sometimes this technique is used for the benefits, like sometimes it's used also for the benefits, like if we are doing for the research work. But if the result is showing something else from the data, then we should not manipulate the data. Like if we want positive result and from these data it's coming negative, so we are changing the data. It should not happen. Undisclosed conflicts of interest. Here, like the particular person should not have the particular interest either in terms of finance or in other materialistic thing. If the particular person has the particular interest, then that research will not be fair. Unethical authorship practices. So authorship practices should not be unethical. This we will discuss in detail in the later slides also. Like author who has written the chapter or the book. So here one should give the proper credit to the particular person who has honestly worked on that project. Sometimes what happens nowadays, it's very common, like in research, you are writing the paper and one person is writing the paper and 2 or 3 persons name is added who have not even worked on that thing. So that is unethical practice, because if you have not worked on that paper, if you have not contributed in that research, then you are not the author of that particular paper or particular book or particular research work. So here the ethical practices lies, and the proper credit should be given. The person who has contributed the most should be the first author, then the second one, then the third one. So here ethical practice should be followed for the authorship also. Sometimes what happens ki there is paid authorship. They like give the money and their name is added. So that is also unethical practice, because according to the ethics, the person who has contributed in the research, who have worked upon the research, only that particular person is the author of that particular research work. Next is misuse of artificial intelligence or research tools. So here artificial intelligence, AI. Now in this era, we are totally dependent on AI for small things, and it's now easily available also, and there are various research tools also, but that is for our welfare, that is for our benefit. We should not misuse them. I can remember when when I was doing my PhD, then at that time we were not like chat GPT and all these things were not easily available. We have to go to the library, we have to study so many research papers, and then only we come to a research literature part. But now everything is so easy, like in one click. If you want literature review, you can get from the chat GPT. So many tools, AI tools are available. At that time, we were not that much dependent on artificial intelligence. We were just going to the books, and like we were studying the research papers in online mode. That was the thing. Like Shodh Ganga we visit, we have to visit the thesis part, and we used to study the PhD thesis of other like fellows of other universities. That was the thing we used to do, and that was the idea we gained from other person's work. We thoroughly study their thesis, we thoroughly study their work, and whenever we were doing a research, we used to credit them. But now it's very easy for the person to conduct the research. Like in one command, if you are giving to the chat GPT, and they will give you all the research work whatever they have done. So it's very easy. Also there are so many research tools also now available. You can directly prepare your PPT, you can directly get the information, but you have to use it very in a fairly way. You should not misuse these informations. If you want to quickly do your work, they are very beneficial also, because what I feel ChatGPT is doing, ki whatever is present on the net, they are just providing you the gist. That is very helpful, but that can only help you in just getting the overview of the things. You should not totally rely on the things. It is your concept, it is your information, you have to thoroughly go through the things. ChatGPT cannot conduct the whole research work. ChatGPT can only give you an idea that this particular definition is used by this particular person in the particular research paper. So it is helping you out in just locating the things. But it is not giving you the exact information. You have to thoroughly study the things. And if you are totally depending on AI, then you are ruining yourself, because you are not using your intelligence, and artificial intelligence is not superior than human intelligence. It also makes flaws. So if you are not using your mind, then it may happen that you are providing wrong information, and your research work will definitely hamper, because it also comes under plagiarism, and you will not be able to learn anything from that. So always whenever you are doing a research work, you should thoroughly study the research papers, whole research papers, and research ideas of those researchers in the field in which you want to do the research. If you want to do the research paper in a particular field, then you should thoroughly study the research in that particular field by the good researchers. Then only you will have your own idea, like what is the problems beside there, what are the shortcomings, what is the research gap, what are the areas of research in which the important things are required. So in that direction you will think, then you will plan, and definitely these AI tools will help you out in reaching the things. But you should not totally depend on these tools. Yes, now we will discuss about the research misconduct. So these are the internationally recognized categories of serious research misconduct. So there are the three important things which comes under serious research misconduct. First is fabrication, that is making up data or results and recording or reporting them as if real. So this fabrication is, like I've also already discussed, that this is very wrong. Like you are making up the data or results and recording and reporting them as if real. Like sometimes what happens, many like researchers are doing nowadays, they are taking up the data from some other research paper and then using that information and then publishing in their own name. So that is fabrication of data. You are using somebody else's data and you are reporting them as your own. So this also a research misconduct. Then we have falsification, manipulating research materials, equipments, or processes, or changing or omitting data so the record no longer reflects the truth. So falsification is like I already told you that research depends on the ethical values. That is, the pillars of research is honesty, ethical values. So if you are relying on the false thing, then your research can never be accurate, because research is based on trust or truth. honesty. So if you are falsifying the data, like you are manipulating anything, any equipment, if you are manipulating, like if you are measuring something and you have changed the reading of the equipment, you have like changed something or the process or the tool, then also you are manipulating the things. Or if you are omitting your data, changing your data, like if boys and girls ratio is different, you have changed the boys to a girl and maintain that balance, that also comes under falsification, and that result will not give you the true reflection of your research work. Then there is plagiarism, appropriating another person's ideas, words, or results without giving appropriate credit. So this also comes under plagiarism, because if you are using anybody's personal idea or word or result, then you have to give the proper credit to that particular person. You have to cite the source and you have to give the proper credit to that person. Otherwise this will come under plagiarism. And nowadays the research is very, like, they are very strict in this thing. If your thesis have more than 10% plagiarism, then it will not be accepted. Your research paper will not be accepted. Your plagiarism should be less. And there are many softwares which can find out that if you have stolen the work from some other research paper, you have used somebody ideas, so that will be easily reflected by that software. So it's very important that your work should be original. It should be your own idea. It should be your own thought. Data fabrication. So here I will discuss this in detail. Fabrication means making up data, results, observations, participants, or experiments that never actually occurred. Sometimes what researchers do, they create their own data. Like I told you, suppose they are studying the gender variable, and they are studying on the school students, and in their classroom there are very less girls and there are more boys. So what they do, they change the few boys to girls and change the data and show them as 50-50, and their result will vary. Now if they are doing some research work on the gender variable, then the final results or findings will change definitely. So this should not happen. Here is one another example, like inventing survey responses from participants who were never surveyed. Like I earlier also discussed, like if you have shared a questionnaire, or if you are conducting an interview or any other means, you are collecting the data and you got data of 200, and your target was to like collect the data of the 400, and you are changing the data, and you have shown the 400 participants, the 200 participants never existed. So this is the fabrication of data. Creating laboratory measurements that were never taken. Sometimes you are showing that these are the measurements and those were never taken. Like you are providing the false information, you are creating your own data. Claiming that interviews were conducted when they were not. Like you are showing that these are the things which you have taken, like the tools used, techniques used for the research, and you have never used those techniques. So that is also comes under fabrication. Inventing, yes, anything important? Okay. Inventing participants or research subjects. Sometimes what happens ki, there are certain number of participants and you are inventing yourself. You are increasing the number yourself. So that also comes under fabrication. Reporting experiments that were never performed. You are reporting in your research work that you have used the particular tool, you have used the particular technique, you have used the particular experiments, and that were never performed. So that also comes under fabrication. Researcher claims to have surveyed 500 students, but actually surveyed only 200 and invents the remaining 300 responses. And this is a common fabrication technique which is used. Researcher wants to show, because the larger the data, larger we can authentify our data, like generalize the data. Because if the particular number of students are there, then it's more generalizable to the population. So here what happens, the researcher for his particular interest, he increases the number of responses. So that also comes under fabrication. Next is data falsification. Falsification means manipulating research material, processes, data, or results in a way that misrepresents the research record. So here we cannot manipulate the research material or the process or the data or the results in which way we want a result. Example, changing data values to produce the desired result. So here we cannot change the data value for our favorable result. Suppose we are studying something and we want the particular type of result. We want to show that particular type of study. Like if we are studying two experimental methods of teaching, one for control group and one for experimental group, and we want that this method should show like it is beneficial, and the readings are showing something else. So in order for our desired result, we are changing the data. So that also comes under data falsification. Deleting observations that contradict the research hypothesis without justification. So if we have, because in the research we have to first of all frame the hypothesis. Research hypothesis, there are two types of hypothesis. First is null hypothesis, that means there is no significant change, and another is alternate hypothesis, in which there is a change, positive or negative, whatever we can show. So if we are deleting our observations that contradict the research hypothesis without justification, so that is also wrong. Suppose we have framed the hypothesis that there is no significant difference and we want our hypothesis to be accepted, and now if our observation is showing something else, then we are deleting that particular observation for our favorable results. So that is also falsification. We should not do that. Manipulating images or laboratory results. Suppose we are changing the lab result, we are getting some kind of readings and we want particular type of reading, and then we are changing the data. So that is also unacceptable. Then altering research procedures without reporting the changes. Here, like if we are changing the research procedure, suppose we have first of all frames our objectives, we have framed everything, and we have framed the tools and all the things and techniques, and now we are changing the things ourselves. Like research procedure we have changed, we have shown something else, like we will undergo the experimental research and we are not undergoing it fully. Like we have shown that we will show 30 days experimental research on these methods and these techniques, and we are used something else and we are not accurately using those methods or those techniques, then that is also wrong, because our results will totally depend on the techniques and methodology which we have used in conducting the research. And if we are changing that procedures or that techniques, that will also change our results. The next is selectively reporting only favorable results. We are hiding out our unfavorable results and we are only showing a favorable results. So that is also data falsification. Whatever readings we are, both kind of results should be equally acceptable. Like if they are favorable results, then also, and if they are unfavorable results, that also, because the benefit of research is only in its honesty. If we are manipulating the things, then the whole purpose of research is a failure. Misrepresenting statistical findings. If the statistical findings are somewhere else and we are misinterpreting them, we are showing something else, then also the whole purpose of research is totally destroyed, because our findings will totally change on the misrepresentation of the data. So here is a one example. A researcher conducts an experiment and obtains results that do not support the hypothesis. The researcher removes several inconvenient results without scientific justification and report only the favorable results. Because here, when we are doing the data analysis part, so here, if we are hiding something, if we are removing something, then definitely our statistical results will vary, our final results will vary, and those results will impact the final findings of our research. And if findings will change, then the whole purpose of the research will change. So we should avoid all these techniques of data falsification. Now, next point is that why are they unethical? Why we should not use these techniques? Why they are unethical? So fabrication and falsification can mislead other researchers, because our research process totally depend on the literature review. I told you, literature review is a very, very important component of our research, because we are studying the history, we are studying the past. Whatever the problem is there, we want to first of all find out okay, what was done previously in that issue, in that area. So our research topic and research everything depends on the literature review. Whenever even we are finding out the research topic, then also first of all we have to study so many literatures, then only we can find out where there is research gap, in which area should we study, what should be a research topic. So research literature review is a very, very important part of research. So if we are misleading other researchers, like if we are giving our wrong findings, then that particular research purpose is spoiled. Then that next researcher who is studying your research, he will get a negative impact, he will get the wrong idea, so it will mislead that researcher, and that particular researcher will never find out like what will be the research gap, because they will get the wrong readings, wrong relations, so that will mislead your data. Produce false scientific conclusions, that is also very wrong. Like scientific conclusions. Like if you if you are giving the wrong conclusions, then wrong generalizations will be made, and it will totally spoil the purpose of the research. Waste research funding and resources. Research funding will get waste because whenever we are doing a research, it also involves a lot of investment. Investment of time, investment of material, investment of human resource. So we are wasting all the things, all our resources, everything we are wasting. If in the end we are manipulating the data, we are giving the wrong findings, then the whole purpose of the research is spoiled. Lead to incorrect policies or decisions, because our policies and decision making is totally dependent on our research findings. And if we are not honest in our quoting of the research findings, then what will happen? It will impact the policies or the decision makings. If research is only done to find out the problems, to sort out the problems, and if we are giving the wrong conclusions, wrong findings, then wrong policies and wrong decisions will be taken, and this will never solve the problems. It will create a new problem because we will move in a different direction. Harm patients or communities if false finding influence practice. So this can also impact the patients. Like in a medical field, if we are conducting the research, then it's very, very important, because wherever the human being is involved, it's very important, because it can harm the patients. If you are doing some research on medicine, if you are doing some research on certain patterns, then if you are quoting the wrong findings, then wrong policies will be made, wrong decisions will be taken, and this will hamper the health of the patient or the communities. Damage the reputation of researchers and institutions. Definitely, if at one point of time it is found out that this research is wrong or this is manipulative, then definitely it will tarnish the image of that particular researcher and the institution also, that these types of institutions are conducting fake researches. So it will defame your institution and that particular researcher also. And serious actions are also taken against those researchers and institutions who use these fake data or manipulate the data. Undermine public trust in science, and the trust is also broken of the people, because whatever the trust we have, like we trust the research findings, conclusions, and if those are also wrong, then this will definitely hamper the trust of the people. Make it difficult for other researchers to reproduce findings, because your work is very important for other researchers. It's very important. Like whenever we are doing research, we are publishing the things. Why we are publishing the things? We are publishing the things so that our findings can reach majority of the people, and other researchers can also learn from our findings, and they can use our findings in their research work. And if we are not honest in our finding, in our research work, that means we are misguiding other researchers, future researchers also, and future researchers also. So that will not for the benefit of anyone. Even we are making loss of others. So it's very difficult for others to follow the right findings. Next is, what should researchers do instead? Researchers should record data accurately, keep original research records, report unexpected findings honestly, clearly document changes or exclusions in data, explain limitations of the study, report negative or contradictory results when relevant, maintain an audit trail of research activities, preserve raw data according to applicable policies, correct errors discovered after publication. So an unexpected result is not a research failure. Hiding or manipulating an unexpected result is an ethical failure. So here the responsibility of researcher is very important. Like if you are doing something, you are using your like time, money, energy, then it should be for the welfare. If you are like manipulating the thing, just like there is a habit, like so many research papers we have written, so many number, you want to only increase the number, then what happened? You're manipulating the things, but it is of no use, because whatever you are publishing, you're wasting your money in the publishing, and that is also not honest. Only for accreditation you can use, but that is not serving the real purpose. So researchers should be honest in the finding, because if you are doing only one paper and you are honest in your research paper, then definitely that will contribute, will be for the welfare of others, and those research findings can be utilized by the other researchers, because honestly if you are following the ethical values, then that will be the beneficial for others. And if you are manipulating the things, then it will be of no use, just wastage, and it will just waste your time also and other researchers time also. Examples: Suppose a researcher expects a new teaching method to improve student performance. After collecting data, the results show no significant improvement. The researcher changes some scores and removes several students from the analysis until the results show a positive effect. So here, basically in education field, majority of the researches are on the teaching methods because we want the students to teach with the best teaching method. And definitely if the teaching method is good, then the student performance will definitely enhance. So in this case, majority of the experimental researches are done in the case in where we want to study the teaching methods. And if the researcher do not find any significant improvement by using the new method, and researcher is willing that he want to show that this method is very good, I have used in my study and this method is like enhancing the student performance, so what he will do, he will change the readings and show that this method is doing the positive effect. Sometimes what happens, I have also done my research in on experimental study I have done, and my topic was also on the teaching methods. One was concept attainment model and another was the traditional method of teaching. So there also I have to divide the class groups into two groups. Like one is was experimental group in which I have to teach them through concept attainment model, and another one was the traditional method where the other students will be taught through the traditional methods. So what was the traditional method? That was the simple method in which the teacher will go to the class and will write on the blackboard and explain the things. And the concept attainment model, I have prepared the various lesson plans and various techniques. Like first of all, we will give the clue, then the student will reach the concept, and that the student will come to the that method. That way, first we will give the examples, positive examples, negative examples, sorting of the things. There were so many planners I have prepared myself for that things. Lesson plans I have prepared and tools I have prepared, and then I have conducted that research. And I have also used the null hypothesis in which I had shown that there will be no significant change in both the methods. But what I found out was ki it was the reality, because I have prepared so many modules for the concept attainment models and I was giving so many clues and so many things that the results were definitely better in the class in which the concept attainment model was used, because the particular strategies were used in that thing. So it came to know that concept attainment model was much better than traditional method of teaching. So that was the result. But sometimes what happens ki it was like a coincidence ki I was like thinking ki it would happen that concept attainment model will be better, and it happened also because many techniques were used in the classrooms. But sometimes what happened ki researcher has planned something like he has used two ways, like sometimes they show online method and offline methods, and what happened ki what they were expecting it doesn't happen actually, then they manipulate the data. So it should not happen. Like if you have priorly think like it will happen, and sometimes what happens it does not happen. So there are certain limitation also, might be ki that particular students, it happens in those particular students in those particular area, may not happen in other areas. Many factors will be there. But at that case also we should not change our readings. We should always show a reading in a fair way. We should not change our reading. Then in my case also, I had studied the variable like boys and girls, gender variable was there. In that case also, in gender, there was no significant difference in the methods. Like boys and girls show the equal, there was no significant difference. So in that case also, like if I want girls to be like they should show, so we should not like manipulate our data. Whatever should be there, we should mention in that way also. So here in discussion question, is this fabrication or falsification? Yes, it is falsification, because you are changing the data, and if you are changing the data, then definitely your result will come differently. Why is the researcher's action unethical? Because the researcher has changed the data, and researchers should quote the original data. What should the researcher have done? Researcher should have definitely should have shared the real data, real findings. How might this actual affect future research? This impact the future research, because whatever you are giving sharing your findings, then other future researchers will follow your findings, and their research work will also be hampered by your wrong findings. If you are saying that this particular method found to be beneficial, it is impacting the gender, it is impacting the emotional intelligence, it is impacting the socioeconomic status, then that future researcher will also get an idea that this is happening, and those are the false reading. So definitely it will impact the other future researchers also because of your false quotation of the research. So this is primarily falsification because the researcher manipulated the research data and selectively excluded results to create a misleading conclusion. The researcher should have reported the actual findings, explained the limitations, and discussed possible reasons why the teaching methods did not produce the expected results.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Askia, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Uh, Might be there is some technical error. Let me check. Participants, kindly wait. There is some issues in network. Just wait for 5 minutes. We'll resume in 5 minutes.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much for waiting. Uh, Askiman, I can see your name now. And your slide is visible to us.
Yes, ma'am.
Aski ma'am, आप mute है. We can't hear you.
Cameras.
Ma'am has joined, but she's facing the internet issue. So just give us a time. आई होप जितने भी हमारे अब तक सेशंस हुए हैं सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को काफ़ी ज़्यादा नॉलेज और अंडरस्टैंडिंग इन सब सेशन से मिली होगी एंड वट एवर योर फीडबैक इज वट एवर योर सजेशंस इज वी आर ऑलवेज ओपन फॉर इट एंड आफ्टर द सेशन ऑल्सो हम आपके फीडबैक भी लेंगे एंड क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड भी होगा जिसमें मैं चाहूँगी कि आप हैंड रेस करके अपने क्वेश्चंस को पुट करें जब इन बिटवीन क्वेश्चन आंसर राउंड भी होगा. Yes.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Karthik Sharma on the line.
Yes, sir.
The sessions have been very good, and the greatest thanks which you deserve is that you have shared the PPTs also. And I was going through one of the PPTs. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
You had shared one teaching in English through Cambridge, and that was also really very good. I mean, we are thankful for all the resources and all the helping material which you have given, and all the sessions have been really good. And these technical issues are not a problem. I mean, we all face those issues, but I
Yes.
think our heartfelt thanks to each one of you. I mean, you have been doing such a wonderful job for all these days, and all
Thank
the resource persons, the kind of information which they have propagated and the content which they have delivered, that's real nice. although we always keep writing all good, all well, but we really feel that some of the sessions, we should have had more time, so we would be able to have more interactions.
Yes, sir.
That's very
Uh,
kind. Thank you so much. We are waiting
Thank
for
you so
madam
much.
to join.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. These words are always give us motivation to work hard
Okay, all,
to
we all belong
introduce
to the
more
same
SFDP.
fraternity, so the appreciation is nothing but it's a small token of gratitude from all of us.
Thank you so much, sir. These words are kind of motivation for us and for working hard always and for giving this FDPs, these kind of FDPs, and we are always thankful to our principal ma'am. She guided us so much. So Askia ma'am is in the meeting. She will take a more minutes and we will wait. Thank you so much for your patience. Askia ma'am, kindly switch on your mic.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now I can hear you.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, my slides are visible.
Yes, ma'am. Your slides are visible and I can hear you. Now you are audible.
Mhm. So here I am discussing about the confidentiality. So that is the thing, like how we will keep our data confidential, restrict access to authorized persons, remove identifying information when possible, avoid revealing participants' identities in publication or presentations, and explain clearly how data will be used and protected. Researchers should know the name of the participant in the study, but replace them with certain codes or identification numbers. Anonymity. Anonymity means hiding the information, hiding the identity. Suppose an online survey collect responses without asking for names, email address, phone number, or other identifying information, and the researcher cannot determine who submitted each response. So in that case, more fair responses will be given. True anonymity is often difficult to guarantee, especially in online research, small communities, interviews, or studies involving unique personal characteristics. So if we are like hiding the things, if we allow the participants to not disclose their identity, then more honest uh, responses we will get. Research with vulnerable groups. Vulnerable groups are individuals or communities who may have a higher risk of harm, exploitation, coercions, or difficulty giving fully voluntary and informed consent in research, like children and minors, older adults with cognitive impairment, people with certain disabilities, prisoners and detainees, economically or socially disadvantaged populations, refugees and displaced persons, patients who are seriously ill, so people with limited decisions, so individuals who may be dependent on the researcher or institution. So here in these case, we should be more careful because here there is chances that there is a harm to the this vulnerable group. Like if we are dealing with the kids, if we are dealing with the adults with cognitive impairment or the persons who are having the disability, so we should be more careful in dealing with these vulnerable groups. Special example, like when conducting research with children researchers, like if we are conducting any research on kids, so researchers should generally consider parents or guardians permission, because the kid is not below 18, then we should take the permission of the guardian or the parent. Then the child's assent, we should also explain the child that what will happen in the research and how he will contribute in a research and whether he is comfortable or not. And then we should take the ethical approval, like there are certain committees also who will give the approval, like whether this will be good for the kid or such types of researches should be conducted. So this way we should proceed for the researches with vulnerable groups. The child should receive an age appropriate explanation of the research and should not be forced to participate merely because a parent or guardian has given permission. Now there is ethical dilemma. Should vulnerable groups always be excluded from research? Because we want to do research on them, so they should be excluded from research? No. Excluding vulnerable groups from research can also be unethical because it may prevent researchers from understanding their spatial needs and developing appropriate treatments, policies, or services. So, the ethical approach is to include vulnerable groups when their participation is scientifically necessary or socially valuable, while providing appropriate additional protections against harm and exploitation. So, here because if we want to study on special kids like autistic kids or like children with down syndrome and all, so here there this research is also very important because we want to create the techniques for the betterment of their future. So we cannot exclude these vulnerable groups, but we should calculate the harm and the benefits which these research will give to the society. So first we have to calculate that how much benefit it will be for them and how much little harm we can give to our client who is participating in the research. Suppose a researcher want to study whether a new teaching method improves student performance. So here an ethical researcher should ensure students are not disadvantaged by participating. They should avoid excessive academic pressure, protect student records and identities, obtain appropriate permissions, ensure that participation or non-participation does not affect grades unfairly. The goal is to gain knowledge without unnecessarily harming students. So here, if the study is conducting in the school setup, like I told you also, like in an experimental study, we have to go in that particular real situation when we are conducting the research. And if you are a teacher and you are conducting a research, then you should not be biased. Like if a particular child is not participating in your research, so you will cut the grades or you will like, okay, why you have not participated in my research? You cannot do that things. So here you have to ensure that participation should be fair and it should not be impacting the personal factors of the students. Can this research achieve its purpose while exposing participants to less risk? If the answer is yes, the researcher should choose the safer approach because whatever researches we are doing, whatever the participants are, whether they are vulnerable groups or general groups, whatever groups they are, the researches are for the welfare of the people. And first of all, foremost thing is the calculation. The researcher should calculate that how much benefit it will provide and how much little harm it can do to the participant. Researcher must never treat participants merely as a means to obtain knowledge. Their safety, dignity, and well-being must remain a priority throughout the research process, especially in the cases of medical field or like if we are working on the vaccination or something like that. Because here the participant is not only as a means to obtain knowledge or as a means to obtain particular result, we should also think about in the terms of their safety, their dignity, their well-being, their physical, emotional, psychological, their traumas. So we should think before all these things before conducting the research. So here, avoiding harm is equal to minimum physical, psychological, social, economic, and legal risk. Beneficence maximize potential benefits to participants and society. Ethical research, a favorable balance between risk and benefit. So researchers should know how much benefit it will provide, how much harm it will cause, and ethics says that there should be a balance between a risk and a benefits. Avoiding harm and ensuring beneficence is a fundamental principle of research ethics. Researchers have a responsibility to protect participants from unnecessary harm and to ensure that research is for the welfare of the society. So maximize potential benefits and minimize potential harms should be the core aim of the research. Conflicts of interest in research. A conflict of interest occurs when a researcher's personal, professional, financial, or other interests could influence or appear to influence their objectivity, judgment, or decisions in conducting or reporting research. So here, researchers should be free of any kind of biasness. We should avoid biasness on the parts of participants also and on the part of researcher also. The research should not benefit in any personal means, any financial means, or any particular interest should not be related to that particular type of research. A conflict of interest is not necessarily misconduct. Ethical problems arise when conflicts are hidden, unmanaged, or allowed to compromise research integrity. A researcher, suppose for example, a researcher is studying the effectiveness of a new educational software program. The researcher receives consulting fee from the company that developed the software. The researcher then reports only the positive findings and does not disclose the financial relationship. So in that case, what will happen? Because the researcher is studying on a particular educational software program and he want the particular result, so he has taken the fee also from the company for that thing. So he want the result according to his favor. So in that case, it will affect the ethical concerns of the research. The researcher has a financial conflict of interest because he is getting the fee for that particular software. So he wants the result in that particular favor. So this is the financial conflict of interest. So conflict was not disclosed. Selective reporting may represent research misconduct. So here what should be done? Here he should not be given any kind of financial interest. It should not be disclosed and research should be fair. And then only the results will be fair. Authorship and contribution in research. Authorship is both a form of academic credit and responsibility. Ethical authorship requires that individuals who make significant intellectual contributions to research receive appropriate recognition, while those who do not make substantial contributions should not be listed as authors. So here the real credit rises. The particular person who has written a book, who has written a chapter, who has done the research work, only that particular person should be given the authorship. And it should be in a fair means. Authorship should reflect meaningful contribution, responsibility, and accountability. It should be fair. Like whoever has contributed in the research, only that particular person should be named as an author. Now, common authorship problems. First is gift or honorary authorship. This is like listing someone as an author even though they have not made a substantial contribution. This happens like if we want to gift someone, like our friend, like he also wants to be an author, but he does not have any time. And he's like saying, ki, I do not have any time, I do not have any knowledge, I cannot contribute. You just put my name. So that is you are gifting the authorship to your friend. Honorary authorship, like you are working under, like you are having one teacher and you want to like impress the teacher or a senior professor by name simply because of the position or status, like the teacher will be very pleased, like you are putting the name of that teacher in your paper. So that is also a gift or honorary authorship, adding a senior professor's name simply because of the position or status. Ghost authorship, a person makes a substantial contribution but is not listed as an author. यहाँ पे क्या है कि आपने किसी को काम दिया, काम कराया किसी से, and you have not listed that person as an author. A professional writer substantially draft a research paper but receives no authorship recognition. These are paid research paper. There are many like services here you can pay and you can get the authorship. So that is very unfair means. Like for research also, if you are doing a research work, your research should be original. If you're writing a thesis, it should be original. If you are paying someone for writing your chapters, for preparing your thesis, your dissertation, so that is ghost authorship. You are using somebody's knowledge by giving them money. So this is also ghost authorship. Next is guest authorship, including a person's name to increase the credibility or prestige of a publication, even though they do not make an appropriate contribution. So here what you are doing, you are including a person's name to increase the credibility or prestige of a publication. Suppose there is a very renowned or senior professor and you want to add the name of that particular person so that it gives weightage to your paper, research paper or your research work. So that is guest authorship. Coercive authorship. A person in a position of power pressures others to include them as an author. Suppose a supervisor demands authorship on a student's paper despite making no meaningful contribution. So that is coercive authorship. It is the responsibility of a supervisor to guide the research scholar or the students. Then only his name should be added in the paper research work. His honest contribution should be there. Like he should guide you, he should supervise you, then only his name should be added. If that particular person is doing nothing and he is just pressurizing you to put his name as an author, then that kind of authorship is coercive authorship. Now there is one example. A PhD student conducts the research, collects and analyzes the data and writes the first draft of the paper. The supervisor provides substantial guidance on research drive, design and critically revises the manuscript. The department head who did not contribute to the study asked to be included as an author. Now, the student and supervisor may have legitimate claims to authorship based on their contributions. The department head should not automatically receive authorship because of their position. The research team should discuss and document authorship based on actual contributions. the department head may be acknowledged for other legitimate support if appropriate. So here in this case, if we talk in terms of honest contribution, then only the student and the supervisor should be given the credit. Because if the head is not contributed, then you can give them acknowledgement some other way. But according to the ethical values of the research, only those who have really contributed in the research should be included as an author. Authorship is not a reward for status, seniority, funding, or authority. It is recognition of meaningful contribution accompanied by responsibility and accountability. So, meaningful contribution should be there, appropriate authorship should be there, transparent contribution statement should be there, and shared responsibility should be there. We should avoid gift honorary authorship, ghost authorship, guest authorship, or coercive authorship. Discuss authorship early, transparently, and based on actual contributions. So this is very important because sometimes what happened ki if you are like a beginner and you have started your research work and you are under pressure that I have to put the name of my teacher. So your beginning is starting from the wrong step. Like you will have a feeling ki why I am working so much if my teacher is not contributing. And it's the responsibility of a teacher also who is guiding you that he should be fair enough. He is teaching you research ethics. That particular teacher should be fair enough. If the name of that particular person is included, then he should definitely contribute in that particular research work. Because this is the beginning thing. Similarly happens in the research also. If you are writing something, then that particular person should have contributed in this thing. So for the monetary benefits, for increasing the value of your research paper, you should not add the name of any other person until or unless that person has originally contributed to your research. Duplicate publication. Duplicate publication occurs when substantially the same research findings or manuscript are published more than once without appropriate disclosure to editors, publishers, or readers. So this also very happen like duplicate publication where the same research findings or manuscripts are published more than once. So it should not happen. Like a researcher publishes a study titled Impact of Social Media on Student Learning in Journal A. The researcher then submits essentially.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, the slides are not moving actually. It is showing only one slide, confidentiality.
Okay, ma'am. Now it's showing.
Yes, ma'am. Now it should.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So a researcher publishes a study titled Impact of Social Media on Student Learning in Journal A. The researcher then submits essentially the same study with the same data and conclusions to Journal B without informing the second journal. So that is wrong. Because if you are publishing your paper also, like you are submitting the paper to one particular journal and then you are submitting to another also. So that is wrong. That is duplicate publication. You should publish your findings only in one place. This is also the breach of confidentiality if you are publishing at two places simultaneously. Then we have redundant publication. Redundant publication occurs when a researcher publishes overlapping research or data in multiple publications so that the new publication adds little or no meaningful new knowledge.
And please
So
change
this
this.
should not be happen. Like in books, it happens ki there are certain types of findings, they are overlapping them and they are publishing in different books. So this should not happen. The work should be original. In research findings also, they are just overlapping the things and adding certain new things and just overlapping, giving no meaning and no new knowledge. It is sometimes called salami slicing when one research project is unnecessarily divided into multiple small papers to increase the number of publications.
Ma'am,
Example,
please,
a research.
please change the slide.
Okay, again, it's not showing.
No, ma'am.
Okay, now it's showing.
Yes, ma'am.
So here, a researcher conducts one large study involving 1,000 participants and divides the finding into 5 papers, each containing highly overlapping data and conclusions without clearly explaining the relationship between the papers. So sometimes what happens ki, like if the researcher is doing a research work, then he according to UGC, they have to publish only 1 or 2 papers, research papers. But what they feel like, if we are doing certain kind of research, at least we will publish 5 papers. Suppose he is a target. So what he will do, like variables are same, things are same. He is changing little bit variables and like overlapping the things and publishing as many papers by slightly changing the things. So that is of no use. Because if you are using a particular data, then you should be crystal clear. Your variables should be different, and your agenda, your research title, everything should be different. Then only it will be meaningful and it will be provide the new knowledge. If you are slightly changing the things, a research topic, minor, and just publishing them in a different kind of genres, then it will not contribute much. It will just increase the number, but it will not increase the quality of your publications. So that comes under redundant publications. Why is it unethical? Because duplicate and redundant publications can mislead readers about the amount of available evidence. Because you are publishing 5 papers on a particular thing, you are proving. So the next researcher will feel that this type of so many evidences are there. So he will quote your 5 papers. So that will be misleading. Artificially increase a researcher's publication count. And whenever we are applying for any position, we have our API score, our number of research papers matters a lot. So that way you are falsifying the information. You are artificially increasing your research publications. Although that was the original 1 paper, but you have subdivided into 5 papers. In this way, you have increased your publication 5 times. So that is also wrong. Waste the time of editors and peer reviews. You are just presenting the same thing again in different designing. So this is also the wastage of time of the peer reviewers as editors. Distort systematic reviews and meta-analysis. And whatever the analysis is done, the literature reviews are done, so it will distort the information. Create an exaggerated impressions of research findings, violate copyright or publication of agreements, waste academic resources, damage the credibility of the researcher and institution. For example, if the same research participants and findings appear in several papers, a reader may mistakenly believe that multiple independent studies reach the same conclusion. So it will increase the weightage of that particular thought which you are sharing, the particular finding you are sharing. So in this way also you are manipulating the things, like the, because whenever we are doing the research, it depends that how many studies are in favor of our result, whatever we have done. We also mention those results. Like in a findings, we mentioned that if we have a particular result, a particular conclusion, that how many researchers have worked on the particular thing and they also quote the same thing. So we have to quote in a research finding, we have to mention that how many authors are in favor of our finding, what we have quote. So in that way, that will also increase, like they will show a large number. And similarly, if we have a negative conclusion, then also we have to write down that how many researchers have received the same conclusions. So that way also it will increase and it will manipulate our original data. For example, a researcher publishes a study using data from 500 students. 6 months later, the researcher submits another paper using the same participants and nearly identical analysis, but changes the title and rearrange the presentation of results. The researcher does not cite the first paper. So is this duplicate or redundant publication? Why is it problematic? And what does the researcher have done? So what he has done, he has taken the data from 500 students and he only changed the title and rearranged the results, and he have presented his research paper. So this may be duplicate or redundant publication. Depending on the degree of overlap, the researcher should have disclosed the previous publication, cited it appropriately, and clearly explained any genuinely new contribution. So here the importance of citation is very important. Like whatever the source we are using, we should cite it. And in reference also, we should mention it. And we should give the proper credit to the particular person, whoever we are sharing the thoughts. And here the responsibility lies on the researcher also. He should not manipulate his findings. The idea should be real. It should not be like you are using the same idea again and again just in order to increase your publications. And what is academic integrity? A commitment, even in the face of adversity, to 6 fundamental values. First is honesty. Your findings should be honest. It should be truthful. Trust. They should be reliable, consistent. Conduct. Fairness. Clear, consistent standards should be there. It should be fair. It should be clear since the beginning of the research. Respect, dignity, and respect of the participants should be maintained. Responsibility, owning one's choices. You are responsible. and the courage, acting on values under pressure when you are conducting the research. So academic integrity values, honesty, student using and citing sources. So these are the values: honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. Researcher should be honest whenever he is giving his feedbacks, he is discussing the issues. He should have the trust on the participants, and whatever he is presenting the data of the students should be trustworthy. They should not be manipulated. Fair, he should use the fair means of like lab, the equipment, the tools which he have used. He should respect the dignity and the safety of the students. He should be responsible in carrying out the research. It should be maximum for the benefit of the community, and it should be less harmful to the participant. And it should be courage, like they should be accountable for what they are doing. And if they have not done the right way of research, then it will defame the name of the institution as well as the researcher. Common academic integrity violations: it is cheating, using unauthorized materials or aid during assessments, unauthorized collaboration, working together when independent work was required, contract cheating, paying or asking someone else to complete your work, plagiarism, presenting others' words or ideas as your own, fabrication or falsification, inventing or altering data sources or results, facilitating dishonesty, helping another person's violate integrity standards. So here we should not use these things. We should avoid cheating. We should avoid paid research work. We should avoid fabrication and falsification. We should avoid plagiarism, stealing others' work and pretending to be our own. We should be very, very honest in our research work. So academic integrity in research is honest data collection, accurate analysis, transparent reporting, proper citation, fair authorship, responsible publication. Suppose a student finds a paragraph online that perfectly explains their assignment topic. Instead of citing the source, the student copies the paragraph and submit it as their own work. So what is the problem? This is plagiarism and violates academic integrity because the student has failed to acknowledge the original author's contribution. The student should rewrite the idea in their own words, provide an appropriate citation, use quotation marks if directly quoting the source, include the source in the reference list. It is very common nowadays because students are using AI tools, chat GPTs, and so many platforms they are using. And what they're doing, like assignments are given to them, it's very easy. Just type the topic and you will get the whole assignment. So this is wrong because if you will not use your mind, then you will not gain the knowledge. So first of all, think is these are the AI tools are just to help you out in getting the things like in a concise way, because Google is widespread. You are getting the things in a one platform, but this is not your, like you have to use your own mind. You have to use your own idea and your own words. Then only the real purpose of assignment will be solved. Your teacher is giving you assignment so that you can gain knowledge regarding to that topic. By just copy pasting others ideas, copy pasting the things, showing your own work, this will not serve the purpose. So ethical also, and academically also, this will not serve the purpose. Academic integrity in the digital and AI era. So here it's very difficult, as I discussed earlier also, because here AI tools are available, everything is available on the platforms. So now the research is very easy. You're getting everything like cooked. You just search the things, type the topic, and you will get everything. So this is very dangerous for our research community because the researchers should work honestly. uh, they should be trustworthy. If they are just copy pasting the things and manipulating the things, then that will not serve the research real purpose of the research. The digital and AI era has transformed how student, teachers, and researchers create, access, analyze, and share knowledge. Tools such as generative AI, online database, plagiarism checkers, reference managers, and digital research platforms offer significant benefits, but they also create new challenges for academic integrity. Responsible use of generative AI. So whenever we are using AI, it should be responsibly used. It can be used for our benefit. It's very good. Now we have the access to AI tools, but it should not be misused. It can be used for brainstorming ideas, explaining difficult concepts, improving grammar and language, summarizing information, generating outlines, supporting coding or data analysis. So it is very beneficial if it is used in a right way. It also saves the time, but we should not fully dependent on AI tools. We should only use it as a reference tool, but we should not fully rely on all the things. We should use our brain for our research work. Using AI becomes an integrity issue when students or researchers. So when it becomes an integrity issue, submit AI generated work as entirely their own when disclosure is required. Sometimes what happens, a teacher has given an assignment to the student and they are just giving the AI generated work. And assignment is a little thing. Sometimes it is asked to write the research paper and student is just copy pasting the research paper and just writing the name and his designation and all the things and his paper. So that is very wrong. You cannot steal other person's ideas like this just by copy pasting from the AI generated work. Use AI in assessment where it is prohibited. Suppose AI is prohibited in assessment, you have to create your own question papers and you are just clicking a one step and you have created the paper using AI tool. So that will not be helpful because being a teacher, you know the level of the students, you know what kind of content you have taught. And this AI generated assessment is generalized assessment. It will only copy paste from some other sites, whatever the material is available, and it will present to you. So that is not according to your needs, the needs of your students. So being a teacher, you have to prepare your assessment sheets by yourself, knowing the level of your students, knowing the content of yourself, whatever you have taught in the class. So this should not be used like AI should not always be used in assessment. You can take the help from the AI in reframing the things, in planning the things, but it should not be whole soul used for assessments. Ask AI to complete an assignment and claim full personal authorship. That is also very wrong. Like you have been assigned something and you are just completing with the help of AI and you are showing that you have done that work. Use AI generated content without checking its accuracy. Sometimes what happens is there are certain flaws, like AI shows some wrong dates, wrong events, something like that, and you are using it. So you should priorly check the information before discussing it with someone. Use AI to fabricate reference, quotations, data, or research findings. That is also wrong. So ethical approach, use AI as a tool for learning and productivity while remaining responsible for the accuracy, originality, and integrity of the final work. Plagiarism in the digital age. In the digital age where AI tools are available, here there are more chances of plagiarism because we have very easy access for copy pasting. So here we should be more careful while writing a research paper, while doing our work, we should be more honest and more careful. Digital technology makes copying information extremely easy. For example, copying text from websites without citation, downloading and submitting another person's assignment, copying code without acknowledgement where required, reusing images, videos, or graphics without permission or attribution, copying AI generated content without appropriate disclosure when required. So academic integrity requires proper attribution, regardless of whether the source is a book, website, research article, social media post, or AI tool. So here it's very important that you should give the proper credit to the particular website you are using. If a teacher is preparing slides for the students, then also the teacher should properly cite the source from where the content has been taken. Proper reference should be given at the end of the slide that from who are the authors of those definitions, who have from which source you have taken the material. So it's a responsibility of the teacher also to showcase the reference part, the citation part, wherever you are even preparing the slides. AI and authorship. AI tools can assist in writing, but question arises about who is the author if you are using the material from the AI. So in most academic contexts, AI should not be treated as a human author because it cannot take responsibility for the research, cannot be held accountable for errors, cannot provide informed consent, cannot disclose conflicts of interest. So human researcher remains responsible for the final work. Researchers should follow the specific policies of the institution, journal, or publisher regarding AI use and disclosure. So if you are using any information from AI, then first of all, you have to cross-verify the things, whether the information is authentic, and you can only take the help from the AI. It should be your original and novel idea. Similarly, academic integrity and online assessment. Digital learning creates new opportunities for academic misconduct, unauthorized collaboration during online exams, using prohibited websites or AI tools, contact cheating, purchasing assignments online, sharing examination questions, impersonation or identity fraud. Institutions should balance academic integrity measures with respect for student privacy and fairness. There are like some online courses are students are undergoing online courses, distance mode courses, and what they're doing there for assignment purpose, they're purchasing the assignment. So that is also very wrong. You cannot purchase the assignment. This assignment is for yourself. You have to do the work yourself. Digital research and digital integrity. Researchers must ensure that digital tools do not compromise research integrity. They should maintain accurate digital records, preserve original data, document data processing procedures, secure research data, avoid unauthorized alteration of data set, clearly document the use of AI in analysis when relevant. AI should never be used to fabricate, manipulate, or selectively distort research data. The challenges of academic integrity in the AI era is not simply whether we use AI, but whether we use it honestly, responsibly, transparently, and in ways that preserve genuine learning and research integrity. So AI is a powerful academic tool, but it does not transfer responsibility away from the human user. So use technology to enhance human learning and scholarship, not to misrepresent work, fabricate knowledge, or avoid intellectual responsibility. AI is very beneficial nowadays for a working professional. Like if you are working somewhere and you have to want something, some ideas, then AI is very important. You can have instant ideas, but it does never means that you should wholesale depend on AI for your presentations, for your work, for your research work. You can only take the help. It will save you, but your ideas and your thoughts should be your original ones. AI hallucinations and false information. AI systems can produce information that sounds convincing but is incorrect or fabricated. This may include false facts, incorrect statistics, invented quotations, non-existent research papers, incorrect citations, or misinterpretation of academic sources. So researcher responsibility is always verify important claims, check original sources, confirm references, review AI generated content critically, never assume that an AI generated citation is genuine. So AI can generate information, but the researcher remains responsible for verifying it. Because not all the information which is shared by AI is original. That can be false also. So you always have to verify the information. So plagiarism, what is plagiarism? Presenting someone else's words, ideas, data, or creative work as your own. So whether copied word for word, paraphrase without credit, or reuse without disclosure. So here, if you are using any person's ideas, you are using any person's work or anything, we have to give the proper credit to that particular person, particular research paper, particular site from which you have shared the information. So the key idea is about credit, not just copying. Plagiarism can be intentional or unintentional. Carelessness is not a defense. So sometimes what happens is we intentionally do the plagiarism and sometimes it's unintentional. It applies to text, image, data, code, music, and ideas. Using your own previously submitted work without permission also counts. Like if you have shared your information in previous paper and again you are using the same information again in a new paper. So that is self-plagiarism. You are using your own information again and again. The remedy is simple and consistent. Give credit every time in the expected format. So there are 6 types of plagiarism: direct or verbatim, copying text word for word with no quotation marks or citation. So that is your direct plagiarism. Mosaic or patchwork, weaving phrases from a source into your own sentences without credit. Like you are manipulating others' work and you are not giving credit also. Paraphrasing plagiarism, restating an idea in new words but omitting the citation. Then we have self-plagiarism, reusing your own prior work without disclosure or permission. Then we have accidental plagiarism, careless note-taking or citing leads to unattributed material. So that means that you have accidentally done the plagiarism. You have taken somebody else's work and you even do not bother to find out what is the source or where it should be the citation. So that also leads to accidental plagiarism. Source-based, citing a source incorrectly or one that doesn't exist, or say what you claim. So that is also source-based plagiarism. So consequences of plagiarism. Consequences extend well beyond a single grade or paper. So academic, it can lead to falling grade, course failure, suspension or expulsion. Professional, retracted publications, lost funding, damaged career. Legal, copyright infringement, claims in serious cases. Reputational, loss of trust from peers, mentors, and defaming of institution. So, here, citation and referencing basics. Why we cite? We cite because we give credit to original authors, let readers verify and explore your sources, situates your work with existing scholarship, or single most effective safeguard against plagiarism. And the common citation styles are APA style, MLA style, or Chicago style. So every direct quote needs quotation marks and a citation. Every paraphrase idea need a citation, even without a quotation marks. If you don't think of it yourself, it's common knowledge. Okay, you have to cite it. And there are three ways in which you can cite. So APA style is for social science, education, and psychology. MLA is for humanities, literature, and language. And Chicago is for history, business, and some humanities. Now I will wind up my session because already it's time up. So here there is paraphrasing the right way. So here is an example. Changing few words is not paraphrasing. Restructuring and citing is. So here it is shown climate change is causing more severe weather patterns across the globe, impacting agriculture and human settlements. So it becomes climate change is causing more extreme weather patterns worldwide, affecting farming and communities. So here what the researcher has done, he has slightly modified the thing. No citation and sentence structure is nearly identical. So this is also a plagiarism, although you have slightly changed the words. The acceptable is rising global temperatures are linked to an increase in extreme weather with significant consequences for food production and where people can safely live. And now the proper citation is this. This is given by Smith in 2023. So here the ideas are structured in the writer's own words and the source is cited. Here the idea is also changed and citation is also provided. So this is the acceptable way of writing the things. So practical strategies to avoid plagiarism. Track every source as you research, author, title page, and link from the very first note. Quote sparkling, uh, quote sparingly, keep quotation marks in your note and cite immediately, not later. Paraphrase fully in your own words and structure, then still add the citation. Use a reference manager, either Zotero, Mendeley, and Note to format citations consistently. Run a similarity check on your own draft before you submit it. When in doubt about whether something need a citation, cite it anyway. So the best strategy is whatever you are like, if you are researching something and you got in definition, the best way is to maintain a diary and write it that way only. Like from where you have taken the things, you have to maintain a record. Then only in the end you will properly cite the things. So you should be in a habit of keeping the diary whenever you are researching something and just write whatever the thoughts you are taking, write down which paper you have taken and which author and which year. So it will be easy for you in the end to sum up all the things. There are plagiarism detection and integrity tools. So there are many tools available like Turnitin hai, iAuthenticate has. Compare a submission against a database of published work, web content, and other student papers, providing a similarity score that highlight matching text. So there are many plagiarism detector software, free software, they are available online in which you can check your plagiarism. But these softwares will only check your database against the database which is available in the pool. So high score doesn't always mean plagiarism. If the score is high, it doesn't never always mean that there is plagiarism. Properly quoted material, reference, and common phrase can inflate the score. Someone must always review the report in context. Why your score is higher. Sometimes what happens is you are using the same word again and again. That will also come under plagiarism. Low score doesn't guarantee originality. And if your score is low, it doesn't mean that there is no plagiarism. Sometimes it shows 1%. It doesn't mean that it is 1%. Sometimes what the researcher has done, he has heavily paraphrased or translated plagiarism. And reuse ideas without matching text can slip past automated checks entirely. Can bluff the AI by simply manipulating the text, by paraphrasing, by putting commas. So in this way, he can manipulate and it will show the low score. But in original, the research work will not be original. So the key takeaways here will be the research ethics protects people, data, and credibility of science itself. Academic integrity rests on honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and courage. Plagiarism takes many forms: direct, mosaic, paraphrase, and self-plagiarism. Careful citation from the very first note you take is the most reliable safeguard. When in doubt, cite it, ask the mentor, or consult your institution's policy before submitting your work. This is all from my side. Thank you so much for listening me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear participants, now the session is open for the question answer round. You can ask your questions from ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, my question is about the redundant data that you have said that suppose I do a research on 500 students after 5 years, I do the same research on that 500 student that I have taken, and the research will be just repetition of the previous research only. But it may happen the circumstances changes in such a way that same research give me different results. Like take example of virtual jobs before corona period and after corona period, their prospect changes a lot. So in that case, ma'am, my research paper, the same topic after a certain period of time, which is giving me different result, will be considered as redundant data or not?
See, if you are like taking a data, you have used the data before corona and after corona. The same, see, research paper in which you have published a research paper or you're just undergoing the study.
I'm just giving an example, ma'am. I'm
Acha,
just
you are
looking
just
through. I'm
giving the
not
example.
giving it.
Okay. So if you have
Yes.
published your result, so that result will be valid for that period only. Like before corona, if you have undergoing any study and you have published your paper, so that will be applicable for that thing. But if you have maintained the data and you have studied the data for a long 5 years, that will be a longitudinal study. And then you come to the conclusion that this thing happening now. So that will be your research work and that will be applicable that in the present time.
Okay.
Uh, Good evening, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Good afternoon. I had one doubt, like, just wanted to ask. That is, ma'am, how can open science practices be adopted while respecting participant confidentiality?
See, here you can maintain the confidentiality because if you need the personal details of the participants, then as a researcher, you can take the personal details by taking the prior consent. Okay, but confidentiality can be maintained by, like I have shared that thing, by maintaining the data private. You should not disclose the data. It should be kept private, and after particular time, you can destroy the data so that it cannot be misused in later.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Good noon.
Good afternoon.
This is Suman, ma'am. I have a question. How research papers from peer-reviewed journals can be downloaded for free or open access, ma'am? As we have to download and read so many research papers for doing literature survey. So how can we go for the open access and the free use of papers from peer-reviewed journal, ma'am?
See, the papers which are available free online, you can easily download them. And there are certain sites where you have to register yourself first. You have to make your profile, and then only you will be able to download those which have the. So in that way, you can maintain your data.
Okay, one more question related to this question, ma'am. It is extracted from the first question. How can we use those downloaded papers, bibliography or references? Can we use them?
Ma'am, if we have to cross verify. Suppose what happened if we are working on certain topic and the similar researcher has also worked on the similar topic, might be ki what definitions we are using and the authors which we are quoting, that particular person has also quote those definitions, and he has also used the author bibliography and reference work. So in that way we can use. He has also given the credit, you can also give the credit, but you have to properly cite that particular paper from which we have taken the bibliography or referencing.
Yes, ma'am. It is happening because the text I have chosen as the primary text, the papers I have downloaded, the same foundational text is there in the bibliography or the references section of some of the papers. So that was a matter of doubt at that point, ma'am. So thank you so much for giving me a solution and making me so confident in using these references and bibliography. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Askia ma'am, you can stop sharing your screen.
Another thing, can true informed consent exist? Like if a researcher must use deception to prevent participant bias?
Yes, please repeat the question.
Ma'am, I said, can true informed consent exist if a researcher must use deception, like to prevent participant biasness?
Yes, it exists. Like if you are conducting research on small kids, like if you are conducting research on vaccination, like medical students, they are conducting research on vaccination, then it's their responsibility to have the consent of the parents. They have to even videograph the things, like they have taken the consent from the parents. It's very, very important because they are playing with the lives of the students. They are doing the research on human beings. It's very important. Informed consents do exist and it should be taken.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think there is no more questions. Thank you very much, ma'am, for such an enlightening, insightful, and thought provoking session. Your valuable guidance has undoubtedly enriched our understanding of research methodology and academic publishing. As we come to the conclusion of today's student and faculty development program, it is time to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who contributed to making this event a success. I now have the privilege to invite Dr. Babita Bhadwaj, Assistant Professor, Army Institute of Education, to kindly propose the vote of thanks. May I request Dr. Babita ma'am to please come
Thank you, ma'am.
forward to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Namaskar. Good afternoon to everyone joining us today. As we conclude day 5 of the Student Faculty Development Program, it is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Army Institute of Education, Greater Noida. Honesty is the best policy. With these words, I sincerely thank our resource person, Dr. Azkia Khan, Principal Ramkumar Public School, Aligarh, UP, because I think she has guided us how to follow the honesty path in our research progress. So today she talked about research ethics, academic integrity, and plagiarism with such clarity and conviction. Ma'am, your session helped us to understand not just what plagiarism is, but why academic integrity must remain non-negotiable in every stage of our research. Ma'am, I'm sure our research scholars who are attending our program today, they must have encountered these challenges, and they will definitely getting some kind of insight for the clarity in the concepts. Ma'am, we are truly thankful for the time, wisdom, and conviction you brought to today's session. I'm grateful to Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, Principal, Army Institute of Education, for her constant encouragement. Ma'am, your continuous guidance is providing new energy to this program. I extend my sincere thanks to CTPD India for their continued collaboration with Army Institute of Education, जिनके सहयोग से ही यह कार्यक्रम निरंतर सफलता की ओर बढ़ रहा है. I also acknowledge the management of Army Institute of Education, whose continued support makes it possible to bring such a meaningful and relevant session to all of us. I would like to thank my colleagues for their continued cooperation and our technical team for ensuring smooth conduct of the session. Before we conclude today's session, I would like to share an important update regarding tomorrow's session. Due to an unavoidable work commitment, our originally scheduled speaker will not be able to join us, but I'm pleased to inform that Professor Asit Kumar, Director, Indian Institute of Social Reform and Research, former Dean and University of Kalyani, and Professor Shiv Shankar Jain, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kalyani, will join us tomorrow as a speaker for the concluding day of the program. With these words, I again thank you everyone. और हमें पूरा विश्वास है कि आने वाला सत्र भी हमारे लिए ज्ञानवर्धक और प्रेरणादायक होगा. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Dear participants, kindly switch on your cameras for the group photograph. Kindly switch on your cameras for the group photograph. ये अमित नहीं कर रहा है. Thank you, everyone. On behalf of the Army Institute of Education, extend our heartfelt gratitude to our respected principal, ma'am, Dr. Abhilasha Gautam, ma'am, to Dr. Babita, ma'am, and to dear faculty members and to all the participants. And special thanks to our resource person, Dr. Askia Khan, ma'am. And for the reminder, that link will be shared like yesterday in the WhatsApp group, all the participants to fill it in time. Thank you so much. And on Sunday, you will get your assessment link. Thank you so much, everyone.